Hello everyone, it's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutorial and Teacher 602, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be the continuation of the course. It happens to be the continuation of the course HED313, and basically it's the second class we're having on the course. Our first class, we discussed what it means by health. Okay, we dissected what it means by health. Okay, and in line with what we dissected, we're going to be talking about health on a continuum. We're going to be talking about health on a continuum. So for those of us who have not joined the private class, you're missing a lot. You need to join the private class today and get started. What we do here on YouTube is basically just about the 30%. There's a whole lot, 70% restricted to members of our private class only. And how do you get to become a member of a private class? All you need to do is reach out to us on our official website, which is www.tutor.io.net. Find the WhatsApp button in the top right corner. Use us to send us a direct message. Okay, with that being said, let's get started for tonight's class. Now, I'm going to be talking about health on a continuum. Now, remember in our last class, we said we identify certain definitions of health, and we also highlighted the discomfort, all right, or the argument between the definition of World Health Organization and scholars, professionals in health, in professionals that practice health, all right, professionals of health or health practitioners. So today we're going to be emphasizing on health on a continuum. Now, continuum here means continuation. Continuum here means continuation. Now, if you remember very well, in our last class, we established that health is not a one-time thing. All right? Health cuts across different spheres. All right? And according to professionals are of the opinion that you can be physically sound, but you're not mentally okay. You can be mentally okay, but you're not physically sound. Or you can be physically and mentally okay, but you're not emotionally okay. You're going through some emotional trauma. All right? With that, professionals will say you're not healthy. All right? But it doesn't mean you have an amputated leg, but it doesn't mean you are suffering from an illness or you are suffering from a bruise. No. All right? Professionals sees health as sees health as an ability to perform. In as much as your ability to perform has not been hampered, you are healthy. All right? In as much as you have some physical illnesses or some illness or physical challenges, but in as much as that physical illness or challenge has not affected your ability to perform, then you are healthy, according to practitioners. Okay? According to practitioners. But for World Health Organization says health should be all round. All right? World Health Organization believes that if you are physically healthy and not emotionally healthy, that means you are not healthy. But professionals are of the opinion that even though you are physically healthy and not emotionally healthy, you are healthy. Okay. So now let's go straight into today's class. Today's class we are going to be talking about health on the continuum. Now it says here that the health status of an individual, all right, is constantly changing. That's what it means by this health on a continuum. As much as you are alive and you are happy, okay, as much as you are alive and you are healthy, your health changes from time to time. Okay. Okay. The health status of individuals changes from time to time. Now you might be wondering, same you last week, physically checked, mentally checked, spiritually checked, emotionally checked. Same you last week, physically not checked, emotionally not checked, mentally not checked. Okay, is that your health status? All right. Some persons that have diabetes today, they do not have diabetes few months ago. All right. Some persons that have some emotional trauma, going through some emotional trauma today, as at the day before yesterday, they were not going through that. So health on a continuum is of the opinion that your health status changes from time to time. Okay, it changes. The individual returns from health to illness and illness to health. It's a normal thing. All right, it is part of life. Okay, it is part of life. It is what makes life what it is. His condition is rarely permanent. All right, health condition is never permanent. Okay, that's why even if you check your blood pressure now, okay, in the next the next few hours, maybe you've eaten something, you've done something, check it again. It can never be the same figure, but it can be within the same range, but it cannot be the same number. This is what I've been told you, that your health condition as human is never permanent. Are we together? You may wake up great, have all right. You may wake up have and feel good again by now. Are we together? So that is what we are trying to talk about here about, all right, health on a continuum. Now let's take this. It says health is like life itself, a process of constant change. Definitely, if you are alive, you're expected to change from time to time. We see seasons, all right? Seasons come and go. In as much as you are alive, all right? Comparing health now to life itself, a process of constant change. A process of constant change. CC. Health is like life itself, a process of constant change. Okay. Now, to maintain good health and well-being, we must constantly. Now, we're not trying to make you. We're not saying all of this to get you scared that you cannot be healthy throughout. Yes, you can be healthy. All right. So the thing now is that for you to maintain a good health and well-being, you must constantly adapt to changes. All right. Changes in our lives. Okay. Our health is not affected by change, but by adaptation to change. So the problem is not the change itself, but it's how you adapt. Trust me, you know, many of us have heard this saying that life is not a bed of roses. There are certain points in life you find yourself, all you need to do is just to adapt and move on. Okay? If you refuse to adapt and get stuck, it will tell on your health. All right. So the problem here is not the change, but the problem is you adapting. All right. We've seen billionaires lost everything in just a day, and the next day they were able to bounce back. You can imagine for somebody who lost everything just last week and during this press of hardship, he gave up the ghost, or maybe just he took his own. All right. He was not strong enough. Such a person would not have seen himself coming back strong. So that's why we are being told here that health is not permanent, it changes. So where the bone of contention now is the process of adapting to that change. All right. So let's take that down. Our health health is not affected by what? Health is not affected by change. Okay, but by adaptation to change. Health is affected by adaptation to change. That's just it. And that's one thing about life, not just health alone. I mean, life is health. Okay? We can do that comparison. So, irrespective of whatever we are going through as a person, all right, to my Christian brothers, we have a good example of Jesus Christ who left everything that he is and came down here, all right, walked among men, humbling himself, all right. He went through everything we will go through. Not for one reason did he ever brag. Did you know who I am? He was able to adapt. Even Apostle Paul said it, that we should learn how to abound and abase. We must always learn to adjust to certain situations in life. Okay? So the same thing we are being told here now in this course, that what affects our health is not the change, all right, but it's our reaction, all right, our attitude towards certain changes we experience in life. So according to Arifa in 2007, he stated that health illness continuum. Okay, just a okay, there's a graph illustration here. Okay, according to this illustration by Arifa in 2017, he stated that this continuum we're talking about, he used the concept first proposed by John W. Travis in 1972. Now, according to his illustration, he said, your health and wellness are always changing. Three main points he identified here. He highlighted, your health can be measured on a slide. All right. Your health can be measured on a sliding scale. Your health and wellness are always changing. Okay. Now, there are two sides of of the arrow. There are two sides of the arrow. Now we have PD, PD. Okay. We have loss of health and wellness, loss of health and wellness. And on the other side, we have improved health and wellness, improved health and wellness. Okay. And we also have high level of health, high level of health. Now, this PD is when our body has totally degraded. We have chronic disorders. All right. Loss of health and wellness. You experience things like lack of energy, pains in your body, and aches. And if it goes beyond this, it comes to this, where you have chronic. But if you happen to be on this side, all right, you experience freedom from aches and pain. Everybody is under this category. All right, everybody is under this arrow. You either fall under this arrow, either you are free from aches and pain, all right, where you have moderate level of energy, or you have moderate level of energy, or you have optimum level of energy, feeling of well-being. All right. So for those people who are on this side, they are always praying, spending, investing their effort and energy to side. Everybody wants to be on this uttermost part, whereby you have high level of health. Okay. So it is what it is. Let's take a step further. Health is a dynamic state. Remember, we said it is always changing. That's what it means by a dynamic state that fluctuates as a person adapts to changes. You respond to your environment, situations from the environment, right? In internal and external environment to maintain a state of well-being. Now, as you grow as a person, all right, you are affected by two environments. We have the internal environment and we have the external environment. The worst one the worst one that can easily bring you as a person down is the internal environment. All right. The external environment also play a major role, but if the internal environment is solidified, strong enough, no vices from the outer part of the environment will be able to pull one down. So let's dissect it properly now, as we're going to be talking about these two variables that influences health, beliefs, and practices. So let's start with the internal. Okay, variable. Now, for the internal variables, we have them in stages. Okay, first, we have the developmental stage. Here, a person's thought and behavior pattern are beginning to change. Okay, then we have the intellectual background, where you have the knowledge about the way your body functions, certain illnesses that you can expose your body to, and how to protect your body from these illnesses. Okay, we also have the environmental and spiritual factors. Now, the all right, individuals at this level can be influenced by certain emotional and spiritual factors. Spiritual belief, all right, influencing whether to seek, all right, or to avoid certain health behaviors. What are we saying here? The spirit, the spiritual factors, all right, has to do with one's belief. All right, I know there are some beliefs that says you don't take certain things so that you can help your body function in certain ways. All right, your emotions as well has a lot to play when it comes to making health decisions. All right, if you don't curb it, it might take over your sense of health decisions. All right, you like we all know that there are certain food we should avoid because this food kills the immune system. All right, but if you haven't put your emotions in check, you might just make decisions because maybe probably you're not being watched or you're not being scolded at. So you just take these decisions and you feel nothing will happen eventually. But unfortunately, there are things that need to pile up in your body. Okay, so all these are internal. So let's just take them. We have developmental stage where you have your thoughts being developed. Then you have your intellects, your knowledge. Okay, intellectual background. How knowledgeable are you about health behaviors? How knowledgeable are you about your health? It is nobody's responsibility. Yeah, fine. Your parents are there, but basically they won't always be there with you. So you need to get knowledgeable about your health. Everybody has certain issue, one or the other. So you need to find out what is your health condition as a person. What are the things you need to do to be intentional? You need to be intentional about your health. I mean, you need to be deliberate. You need to make your research, make your findings, know how to protect yourself from certain illnesses, and so on and so forth. And we also have the emotional and spiritual part as well. You make certain decisions based on facts, all right? And your spiritual, I think camera has been okay. Yeah, I think that's better. So we have that as that. So now we have the external variables as well. These are likes of families, social economic factors, cultural background. All right, from this family, you do this, you don't do that. It's expected of you. We have the social economic factors, whereby we have the economic level. There's a way the economy can also affect your health. Okay, we also have the psychological factors, right? The need for certain things, and the need for food, shelter, and clothing. If one lacks this need sometimes at the point where they are most needed, can also affect such an individual's health. So we have the so we said families. I said family. So we also have social cultural factors. Sociocultural factors. And we have cultural background. Some culture will say, when you wake up in the morning, you must take this, you must take that, you must do this, you must do that. All these are variables that can affect one's health. So, very quickly, let's touch on the components of health. Okay, components. Now we have there are physical components, all right, of health. They are mental components as well as social components, spiritual components, emotional, vocational components, and the likes. Okay, all this revolves around health. And speaking of the physical components, all right, we have the likes of, all right, we have the likes of how functioning your body is, all right, the functionality of your body. All these, you have exercising your body regularly, taking care of your skin, all right, more of the physical part of your body now, things you can see and touch, all right. So we also have the mental components as well, all right, which has to do with the ability of an individual to cope with daily needs. As more of the mind, physical, mental. Okay, so we have social. When we talk about social now, the ability for you to mingle, for you to relate with others, as a social. Okay, we have that as well, and the list goes on and on. Now, there's something called cognitive health, also one of some of the components though. And as far as cognitive health is concerned, it's a bit different. All right, it's said to be, people have heard of the term cognitive health, yet now, all right, they don't fully know what it means. All right, and when we talk about cognitive health now, we are being intentional about the stability of your brain, the stability of your mind. All right, the stability of your mind. And when we talk about stability, it boils down to how knowledgeable are you. All right, the wisdom, very important. When you become knowledgeable about something, you it you don't become a master of such. But for something you don't understand, you struggle with, definitely you won't find stability in that field. All right. So for health is one field we all need to find stability. We need to be sure about certain things. We need to be convinced. We need to be intentional and deliberate about certain things. So when we say cognitive health, we are talking about the stability of your brain, right? So we have cognitive functions include learning a new language, your sense of judgment, and your memory. How well do you remember things? And basically, there are several ways you can improve your cognitive health, the likes of reading, all right, maintain social interactions, play, have fun, interact, and so on and so forth. Okay, now we have that. Some of the factors that affect health, okay, some of the factors that affect health, just to mention but a few, social factors. Okay, I'll talk about social factors now. Social determinants of health. They reflect the social factors and physical circumstances of people. Okay, maybe you're not born into a successful family. Maybe your environment where you are living. Maybe your age. Okay, now all this put together, also known as social and physical determinants of health, they affect the wide range of health functionality and quality of life outcome. Certain persons are denied certain access because of their age, because of where they come from, or because of their lineage, right? Because of one or two things, they are being denied certain access, which can indirectly tell on their health. Okay, we have other factors here as we have it in the course material. So we're going to call it wrap here for today. Our time is fast spent, and just to make mention of this before we call it a wrap, there are certain things you need to bear in mind, even as we have known the things that can cause depletion of health. We also need to know things that can help promote good health. All right, the likes of your environment, very important. Your lifestyle is also very important. All right, if you choose to live a healthy life, it will tell on your health, and if you choose to do otherwise, it will also tell on your health. So, in our next class, we'll take it off from the attitude and behavior during time of health. So, we're going to talk about that in our next class. Thank you very much, everyone. I believe you have been able to gain something in today's class. So, for this, I think I gave us an assignment last time we had our class. Miss Agnes, are you in the class? I'm here to get your assignment. Please do all to send it to your private class at the end of this class. Very important. And I think from the looks of things, we are moving at a very good pace. Few more classes we should be calling it a wrap with this course, and we are going to be proceeding to the next one. So thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your time and effort. You have a wonderful evening. See you in some other classes. Bye for now.